Hello, everyone, and welcome together for the daily meditation sessions. Thank you for being here and thank you for your practice. As a beginning, I'd like to invite you to check in with yourself and notice how you're doing in this moment. And you might also set some intentions for this half hour we have together tonight, or however long you will be with us. Just noticing how you're doing in this moment in time on this Monday. And what your truest, deepest intentions are. And if you would like to share with others who are live with us right now, I'll invite you to share as a way of connecting with other people. The topic for tonight is mindfulness of beliefs. And as a way of beginning this exploration, I would like to read a poem that I understand has gone viral. It's written by an Irish priest, and it's called Lockdown. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying, sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there doesn't have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. And yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen, behind the factory noises of your panic, the birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming. And we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. I heard this poem read by Tara Brach earlier today in a talk she was giving on the topic of the pandemic, and it really touched me. I can see why this poem went viral, and it's really fitting to what I wanted to explore with you tonight, beliefs. As I shared earlier today on Instagram this poem by Rumi where he says, "Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other does not make any sense." When we sometimes get stuck in some sticky thought patterns and they turn into beliefs, they can really rule and control our lives. And beliefs can entrap us into a sense of smallness. They can really limit the way we look at things and disconnect us from this place that Rumi is talking about in this poem and Richard Hendricks was talking about in his poem Lockdown. That yes, in the external conditions around us, there may be limitations and constraints, and for sure coronavirus has created a completely new constraint in the already existing constraints of our lives. So it's making some things that were really already difficult much more difficult than before. And if we kind of gently investigate the beliefs we carry and look at them with tenderness, we might be able to find some openings and some space. A while ago, I had seen on Instagram again this word, yugen. It's a Japanese word. That means an awareness that triggers emotional responses too deep and powerful for words. A profound sense of the universe. So tonight we will explore how we can go from a belief, a limiting belief, or a sticky thought that might creating a sense of panic or maybe entrapping us in fear or creating a sense of smallness to a place where we can feel yogan, this profound beauty or mystery or trust or a profound sense of the universe, this place where the world is too full to talk about. And we will be asking some gentle questions in this meditation after we identify a belief. And beliefs can be any beliefs. If you are carrying any beliefs right now about how the pandemic will shape out in the future, you can choose to investigate that. And you can also choose to investigate another deeply held belief, maybe one that you inherited from your family or one that you have been working on recently. There may be a number of different ones, such as I'm not good enough. I know that this belief, I'm not good enough, is one that I continuously work on. There might be other ones, such as I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, or I will get hurt, or this will be bad, this will get really bad, this will hurt. There might be some beliefs around fault finding, either in yourself, it's my fault, or in other people, it's their fault. And so feel free to pick any belief that you want to work on. And one other thing I wanted to share before we start is I came across in Harvard Business Review a study that was done, a case study that was done on corporations, big ones really, such as Sony, where they educated especially the leadership team to do this investigation and kind of look at the stories they were telling themselves. And this ends up impacting their life and their work and life satisfaction tremendously. And this training ends up being given to many people inside these organizations. The part that I really wanted to share is how they were investigating these sticky thoughts or beliefs. So it seems that they were asking 3 questions and taking 3 different approaches to kind of widen the lens or widen the perspective, which is something we have been talking about last week in different videos, live streams. So the first question or the first way to widen the lens is to ask, what would the other person in the conflict say about this this thing that I'm believing, in what ways someone can come in and say the opposite of that. So either the person who is in the conflict with you, if there is a person like that, or maybe someone who's wise, whose wisdom you trust, if they were to come and look at the situation, what would they say? The second way of widening is taking the long lens and asking yourself, how will I most likely view this situation in 6 months, in a year, in 6 years? Last night we were exploring calling on your future self, kind of, if you want to take it even longer than that, when you are in your old age or when you are much older, how will you look back on this belief or in this situation? And then is to take this question where it asks, regardless of the outcome of this issue, how can I grow and learn from it? So this is really asking the question, how can this serve my awakening? How can this serve my growth? How can this serve my community of people around me? If I kind of let go of this belief, if I widen the lens, or if I find another perspective to take. So in the meditation, we will be asking a few questions like that, where we do the U-turn and we first come and look at how we are doing when we carry this belief, and who we would be without this belief, what our life would look like without this belief, and then see if an opening comes from that. And whenever we notice these sticky thoughts or beliefs, we can always remember to ask ourselves, what would someone else say, someone I trust? Take the long view and ask, what will this look like to me in X years? And then take the wide lens and ask, how can I grow from this? How can I learn from this? So with that, we will begin. And as a way of beginning, I will invite you to find the posture in which you feel awake and relaxed, and allowing the eyes to close gently if that feels good, or lowering the gaze to a point on the floor. We will, like we always do, begin by a few moments or minutes of anchoring and finding presence. So you might bring a kind, curious attention to your breath, or if your anchor is something other than the breath, maybe your hands or your body, or the sounds you are hearing. Finding a place where you can watch the breath in your body, if this is your anchor. And without manipulating or changing the anchor, simply using it as a reminder to come back to the present moment each time the attention drifts away. Remembering that it's normal that the mind goes elsewhere. And our practice here is to observe that in a non-judgmental way, and to simply come back to our body awareness, to our breath awareness, to this present moment. And to find a simple presence where, for a few minutes, we have nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. Our only effort is to turn inward and to notice what is arising. And now, as we begin our work or our practice tonight with beliefs, you might bring to mind something that has been challenging for you in the recent days. It could be a situation at work. It could be the larger situation we are in with regards to the pandemic. It could be family, friends, people you love. Maybe there is a slight tension somewhere. I will invite you to make sure that you pick something that is not overwhelming for you. We're not looking to practice here with a deep grief or deep fear. So if your mind landed on something like that, you might pick another situation that is less triggering, maybe a 4 or 5 out of a scale of 10. And you might take a moment here to notice what are the emotions and the thoughts and sensations in your body as you bring to mind this situation. And then you might gently ask yourself, what am I believing here? Is there a belief I'm carrying? Or is there a thought that is rather sticky and that keeps coming up? That is kind of driving the way I act and feel and speak. There might be a belief that something will go wrong or something will go in an unwanted way or someone's at fault or that something is dangerous or maybe some scenarios that the mind is creating and then believing in. So just gently exploring if there is one such belief. And then you might gently allow this belief to be there. So we're not looking to judge or to criticize this thought, gently welcoming it, maybe even thanking it for being there. And now from here we will begin to investigate this belief a little bit in a tender way. So first you might want to ask yourself, is it true? This thing I'm believing, is it true? Do you really know that it is true? Do you know for sure that it is true? And then you might ask yourself, what is it like to live with this belief? What is my experience like in the moments of me believing this belief? With a particular attention to the body, noticing what the sensations in the body are in those moments of believing this. And maybe even offering yourself a little bit of compassion for the guilty of this belief, noticing the pain that's there. And saying something like, yes, this is hard for me. I suffer from believing this. And then you might ask yourself, what stops you from letting go of this belief? And who would you be if you no longer believed it? What would your experience or your life look like if you did not carry this belief? And again, with a particular attention to the body, noticing how in those moments of even just imagining what your life would look like without this belief, the sensations in the body might be changing. There might be a sense of relaxation, letting go, opening. So getting familiar with that place where this belief is no longer carried. This place that Rumi describes in his poem as the place where the soul lies down in that grass and the world is too full to talk about. This moment of realizing that there might be another perspective, there might be another truth that we haven't seen yet, that feels a bit more spacious, a bit more free. And in the last moment, or in the last minute of this practice, you might notice if there is a message here that you would like to remember. So connecting to this part of you that's vulnerable, that's suffering, that's believing this difficult thing to believe in, really, this painful thought. Connecting to this vulnerability and noticing if there's a message here for you, something you'd like to remember from this gentle exploration. And then when you are ready, I will invite you to come back to your anchor and to rest here for a moment until you hear the bell. That concludes our practice for tonight. I hope this was helpful and beneficial, and I hope you will continue on this gentle exploration of becoming aware of what you might be believing in moment to moment, and kind of asking yourself, is that true? Is that really true? Do I know it for sure? And what is it like for me to carry this belief? How do I feel when I carry this belief? And what would it look like to let it go? Simply that question. This is not a practice of forcing anything or manipulating the mind, just gently investigating and asking these simple and tender questions to yourself, noticing that if there is a strong belief that's painful, there is some pain there, there is some painful experience there. So we want to do this exploration in the most kind and gentle way possible, really. So I'll invite you to check in with yourself and notice how you're doing right now. If you were to describe your mind, heart, and body space in one word, what would it be? And as a way of saying goodbye and connecting, I'll invite you to share your word with those who are live right now. My word is grateful. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching this and practicing with us. Take care, and see you tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. Paris time for another live stream together.